Hello and welcome to Quiz Class. I'm your host, Ellen, and today we have 100 questions for the boomers. So let's begin. Question number 1. What was the first Disney animated feature to win competitive Academy Awards in 1940? Bambi, Pinocchio, or Cinderella? Pinocchio. What transportation practice became popular during World War II due to gasoline rationing and the need to conserve fuel? Cycling, carpooling, or hitchhiking? Carpooling. Which university won the first NCAA hockey championship in 1948? The University of Michigan, Illinois, or Montana? The University of Michigan. What post-war housing solution made from steel panels addressed shortages from 1947 to 1950? Lustron Homes, Bastion Homes, or Castron Homes? Lustron Homes. Which natural disaster in 1943 flooded the Mississippi and Ohio River valleys? The Great Rivers Flood, the Great Midwest Flood, or the Great Illinois Flood? The Great Midwest Flood. What medical procedure earned Antonio Egas Moniz a Nobel Prize in 1949? Dilatation and curettage, frontal lobotomy, or cesarean section? Frontal lobotomy. How much financial support was pledged in the post-World War II 1948 Marshall Plan to rebuild Western Europe? 120 million, 1.2 billion, or $12 billion? $12 billion. Which Asian country declared independence in 1945 but only achieved full recognition in 1949 after conflict and diplomacy? Vietnam, Indonesia, or Manchuria? Indonesia. Who painted the 1944 abstract surrealist painting, The Liver is the Coxcomb? Salvador Dali, Max Ernst, or Arshile Gorky? Arshile Gorky. What snack gained popularity during World War II with single-serving bags shipped to soldiers? Fritos, Pringles, or Lay's? Fritos. Which fabric became the most popular during World War II due to wool, silk, and cotton rationing? Bamboo, rayon, or lyocell? Rayon. What term emphasizing unity among religious groups became popular in the U.S. during the 1940s? Semitic, Universal Faith, or Judeo-Christian? Judeo-Christian. Which 1944 discovery led to effective treatments for diseases like tuberculosis? Amoxicillin, clovibactin, or streptomycin? Streptomycin. Who was the British Prime Minister who helped create the NHS in 1948? Winston Churchill, Clement Attlee, or Anthony Eden? Clement Attlee. Which 1944 heat wave in the US caused widespread crop failures and heat-related deaths? The East Coast heat wave, Eastern Seaboard heat wave, or New England heat wave? The Eastern Seaboard heat wave. Which U.S. marathon held in 1946 saw record participation from returning servicemen? The Boston Marathon, the New York City Marathon, or the Chicago Marathon? The Boston Marathon. Who were the Eames brothers who designed the 1949 modernist house known as Case Study House Number 8? Trevor and Will, Henry and Bruce, or Charles and Ray? Charles and Ray Eames. Which medical breakthrough was first used on a human patient in 1945? Radiation machine, dialysis machine, or MRI machine? The dialysis machine. What 1941 agreement between Roosevelt and Churchill declared all nations had the right to self-determination? The Atlantic Charter, Celtic Charter, or Balearic Charter? Balearic Charter. The Atlantic Charter. What genre was the 1946 film The Big Sleep? Romance, film noir, or western? Film noir. What U.S. military organization established in 1942 expanded women's roles in World War II? The Women's Army Corps, the Women's Army Reserves, or the Women's Army Unit? The Women's Army Corps. How long did Jack Kerouac take to write On the Road in 1951? 3 days, 3 weeks, or 3 months? 3 weeks. Which 1954 hurricane devastated the U.S. East Coast and parts of Canada, becoming one of the deadliest of the decade? Hurricane Hazel, Hurricane Harriet, or Hurricane Hilda? Hurricane Hazel. What new class of weapon was first tested by the U.S. in 1952, making the age of thermonuclear arms? The hydrogen bomb, plutonium bomb, or radium bomb? The hydrogen bomb. Which animal's population dramatically declined in the 1950s, prompting early international conservation talks? The Indian elephant, African elephant, or Borneo elephant? The African elephant. What was the 1953 Chevrolet Camaro the first of? Mass-produced family car, mass-produced sports car, or mass-produced compact car? Mass-produced sports car. What anti-colonial revolt lasting from 1952 to 1960 contributed to Kenya's independence in 1963? The Mai Mai Uprising, Mau Mau Uprising, or Nya Nya Uprising? The Mau Mau Uprising. Who painted the 1954-1955 Les Femmes d'Alger, focused on Orientalism? Jackson Pollock, William de Kooning, or Pablo Picasso? Pablo Picasso. Which FCC decision in 1948 limited new TV station licenses? The FCC freeze, the FCC ban, or the FCC censor? The FCC freeze. What late 1950s rocket plane paved the way for manned spaceflight? The X-15, Y-15, or Z-15? The X-15. Which moon missions was the UNIVAC hardware used for in the 50s and 60s? Neptune, Apollo, or Titan? Apollo. How many minutes of music were stored on one side of the first long-playing record introduced in 1951? 22, 32, or 42? 22 minutes. What was reintroduced to audiences in the 1959 Disney film Sleeping Beauty? Color storytelling, European fairy tales, or 3D animation? European fairy tales. What news magazine evolved during the 50s to become a major competitor to Time? Newsweek, The New Republic, or New York Times Magazine? Newsweek. What American cupcakes became a favorite in the 50s with the introduction of cream filling and longer shelf life? Countess, Hostess, or Sorceress? Hostess. What Cold War broadcasting service, founded in 1950, spread Western ideals to Soviet-controlled Eastern Europe? Radio Star Europe, Radio New Europe, or Radio Free Europe? Radio Free Europe. Which baseball team dominated the 1950s, winning 6 World Series championships? The Los Angeles Dodgers, the Boston Red Sox, or the New York Yankees? The New York Yankees. What were the 1960 televised presidential debates between John F. Kennedy and Richard Nixon known as? The New Debates, the Great Debates, or the Swing Debates? The Great Debates. What did the 1952 Unité d'Habitation in Marseille introduce? Vertical living, modernist living, or cubic living? Vertical living. Which Marvel comic series based on Norse mythology first appeared in the 60s? Captain America, Thor, or Iron Man? Thor. What was Fidel Castro's 1960 speech, History Will? Absolve me, remember me, or celebrate me? Absolve me. Which 1967 war dramatically changed the Middle East's geopolitical landscape? The Six-Day War, the 16-Day War, or the 60-Day War? The Six-Day War. What 1962 film used over 200 camels and 2,000 horses, making it one of the largest film productions? Lawrence of Arabia, Ben-Hur, or Cleopatra? Lawrence of Arabia. What cocktail made with vodka, Galliano, and orange juice became popular in the late 60s? Manhattan, Harvey Wallbanger, or Long Island iced tea? Harvey Wallbanger. Which 1968 political liberalization effort was crushed by Soviet forces? Prague Spring, Bratislava Spring, or Zagreb Spring? Prague Spring. What university was linked to Nike co-founders Phil Knight and Bill Bowerman in the 60s? The University of Nevada, the University of Oregon, or the University of Arizona? The University of Oregon. What contraceptive device introduced in 1964 was widely used in the US? Lips loop, Jupes loop, or Clopes loop? Lips loop. Which fashion trend of the mid-1960s, popularized by Mary Quant, featured bright colors, miniskirts, and bold makeup? Punk look, mod look, or prep look? Mod look. What were the Precontinent 1, Precontinent 2, and Precontinent 3 projects in the 60s? Space villages, nuclear desert villages, or underwater villages? Underwater villages. In which month of 1970 did the Beatles break up? April, May, or June? April. What adjective was used to describe the Aswan Dam in Egypt in 1970? High, tall, or deep? High. What computer was the 1962 video game Space War developed for? The Mac mini computer, the DEC mini computer, or the TIC mini computer? The DEC mini computer. Where was the first subway opened in August 1965? Connecticut, Colorado, or California? Connecticut. What nations were not part of the 1967 Treaty of Tlatelolco? Australasia, the Caribbean, or Latin America? Australasia. What is another name for the 1965 computing device, Programma 101? Paratina, Porotina, or Paratina? Paratina. How old was Jackie Kennedy when she became First Lady of the United States in 1961? 31, 35, or 39? "31. In which 1964 speech did Nelson Mandela declare he was prepared to die for democracy and equality? Riviera Trial, Rivonia Trial, or Rivine Trial? Rivonia Trial. Who won their first Academy Award for the 1960 film Butterfield 8? Marilyn Monroe, Elizabeth Taylor, or Debbie Reynolds? Elizabeth Taylor. Which European country saw a wave of emigration in the 1960s with citizens seeking economic opportunities abroad? Italy, Germany, or Norway? Italy. What natural color is the Kevlar aramid fiber developed in the 1960s? Yellow, red, or blue? Yellow. What lipstick trend featuring pale pink and nude shades became popular in the 60s? Frosted, matte, or gloss? Frosted. What was Maya Angelou's first memoir, released in 1969? Gathered Together in My Name, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, or The Heart of a Woman? I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. What movement blending Christianity with counterculture emerged in the U.S. during the 70s? Christ movement, Jesus movement, or Messiah movement? Jesus movement. What modern building completed in 1978 became known for its triangular shapes and geometric design? The East Building of the National Gallery of Art, the Central Building, or the North Building of the National Gallery of Art? It is the East Building of the National Gallery of Art. What chip flavor, introduced in the 70s, added to the popularity of Ruffles? Barbecue, ranch, or sour cream and onion? Sour cream and onion. What 1975 NASA mission landed 2 spacecraft on Mars, providing the first images of its surface? Romans, Emperors, or Viking program? The Viking program. What did the 1977 Torrijos-Carter Treaties concern? The Panama Canal, the Vietnam War, or Watergate? The Panama Canal. What champagne cocktail didn't become popular at 1970s brunches and social events? Mimosa, Aperol Spritz, or Bellini? Aperol Spritz. Which 3-year expedition began in 1979? The Transnational Expedition, Trans-World Expedition, or Trans-Globe Expedition? Trans-Globe Expedition. What international airport did Federal Express Corporation move near for operations in 1973? Charleston International, Dallas International, or Memphis International? Memphis International. Who launched the American Top 40 Music Countdown Show in 1970? Frank Welker, Don Messick, or Casey Kasem? Casey Kasem. Why were the Helsinki Accords of 1975 controversial? I'll let you read that yourselves. The U.S. was acknowledging Soviet control over Eastern Europe. What monarch made a historic U.S. visit in 1975, symbolizing improved international relations? Queen Elizabeth II, Emperor Hirohito, or King Faisal of Saudi Arabia? Emperor Hirohito. Which film's soundtrack won the 1978 Grammy Album of the Year award? Grease, Rocky, or Saturday Night Fever? Saturday Night Fever. What resort opened in Florida in 1971? One Ocean Resort and Spa, the Breakers Palm Beach, or Walt Disney World? Walt Disney World. What popular 1970s fabric was used for jackets, pants, and skirts? Corduroy, hemp, or denim? Corduroy. Which group of people, expelled by Idi Amin in 1972, found refuge in the UK, Canada, and India? Malaysian Indians, Jewish Ethiopians, or Ugandan Asians? Ugandan Asians. What became a beauty trend in the 70s despite rising concerns about skin cancer? Laser treatments, tanning, or whitening makeup? Tanning. What country wasn't targeted as part of the 1973 OPEC oil embargo? Portugal, South Africa, or Australia? Australia. What policy aimed at increasing minority and female representation faced challenges in the 1970s? Proactive action, affirmative action, or unitive action? Affirmative action. Which battle marked the end of the Vietnam War in 1975? The Battle of Saigon, the Battle of HCMC, or the Battle of Vietnam? The Battle of Saigon. What discovery in the 70s confirmed the existence of massive objects with gravitational pull? Asteroids, black holes, or the Andromeda Galaxy? Black holes. What 1985 charity single raised millions for famine relief in Africa? Mad World, We Are the World, or Heal the World? We Are the World. What major scientific project focused on the human body launched in 1988? The Human Genome Project, the Human Genome Map, or the Human Genome Sequence? The Human Genome Project. What city's 1985 earthquake led to major changes in their building codes and disaster preparedness? Wellington, Mexico City, or Istanbul? Mexico City. What television show's 1980 Who Shot JR episode became one of the most watched in history? Dallas, Dynasty, or The Colbys? Dallas. Which USSR space station did the 1982-1986 Salyut 7 station pave the way for? Mar Station, Mir Station, or Mir Station? The Mir Station. What art movement featuring emotional imagery became prominent in the 80s? Neo-brutalism, Neo-expressionism, or Neo-monolithism? Neo-expressionism. What title did Time magazine give to Earth in 1988? Planet of the Year, Planet of the Decade, or Planet of the Century? Planet of the Year. At which 1984 Summer Olympic Games did Carl Lewis win 4 gold medals? Seoul, Los Angeles, or Moscow? Los Angeles. What 1986 Ford car had an aerodynamic design and became one of the decade's best sellers? Aries, Aquarius, or Taurus? Taurus. What African country achieved independence from British rule in 1980? Kenya, Zimbabwe, or Nigeria? Zimbabwe. What artificial heart implanted in 1982 marked a breakthrough in medical technology? Jarvik 7, Jarvik 17, or the Jarvik 27? Jarvik 7. What Hong Kong skyscraper was designed by I.M. Pei and completed in 1989? The China Investment Bank Tower, Agricultural Bank of China Tower, or the Bank of China Tower? Bank of China Tower. What was not a 1980s Smurf cereal? Post cereal, Hat Snack Box, or Smurf Berry Crunch? Hat Snack Box. What 1984 breakthrough revolutionized criminal justice with the ability to identify individuals? Scene recreation, DNA fingerprinting, or live blood testing? DNA fingerprinting. Which cosmetics company was sold to Pantry Pride in 1985? Revlon, Avon, or L'Oreal? Revlon. What type of scientist was Sally Ride when she became the first American woman in space in 1983? Physicist, biologist, or chemist? Physicist. Who wrote the 1987 novel The Bonfire of the Vanities that satirized the greed and excess of 80s New York? Norman Mailer, Joan Didion, or Tom Wolfe? Tom Wolfe. What animal was protected in a 1986 moratorium to prevent further depletion of their population? Tigers, whales, or eagles? Whales. Our bonus question, what was the full title of Harrison Ford's 1982 dystopian robot film, Blade what? Let us know the answer in the comments. Thanks for playing this quiz. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.